How you guys doing? This is your boy Amari. I'm here at Pow Con, New Jersey, 2021. I'm here at the Wayne Police Athletic League Center. Today is going to be a very fantastic day. I'm here to interview some of the top leading comic book artists on the independent scene, and also some of the big stars that are here today. So you guys need to stay tuned. Don't touch that dial, and we'll be right back.
Comic is called Legends of Wrestling and presents Sabu. It's an indie comic about indie wrestlers. And I seen too many bad wrestling comics that I decided to make a good wrestling comic.
But before we get into the wrestling comic, let's learn about his origin story. So, how did you get started with art?
I was drunk since I was a kid, but it was in the military when I was sending love letters to my wife that I would draw something inside with each one. I would draw a comic on her within the Army. So that's how I kind of started getting more into the comic stuff and getting more into this path.
So, you decided to send her a special care package. That's wonderful. Wonderful. And you had to make sure it was unique each and every time, correct?
Yes, I had to put my stamp on it, and I had to give her extra love. I drew her killing squirrels or a rabbit or just something goofy, something ultra violent, and then it got there.
It makes total sense. You got to make sure she's the heroine of the story. I'm not discussing the drug. I'm talking about a female version of a hero. We got to be correct nowadays with our pronouns and verbs and God knows what else. So please tell me a little bit more about Sabu, your star.
Well, a lot of the wrestling community knows who Sabu is, right? And this stars him as chapter one, just jumping into his origins, and it highlights a lot of this barbed wire match that took place in '97. So yeah, I put a lot of focus into that. I did a lot of research into that. I really like the hyper-violent stuff. And then I have my stoner comic, The Adventures of Bob Ross and the Kung Fu Squirrel, over there in the corner.
I want to hear more about Sabu. Sabu looks really damn interesting.
Oh, thank you. It takes place on how he started and how he fell into the wrestling business.
Don't give away all the magic. A little bit is fine. Wow. So you have a nice black and white combo here. You have color T-shirts, and you have his flyer. This is amazing. Got postcards, stickers. So where is Sabu's action figures?
Oh, I have not done no figures. I'm not in charge of that. I'm actually gonna try to meet him next weekend out in Queens. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so is Sabu based on a real person, or?
Yeah, this is all real. This is all factual stuff. This is all real stuff. This match actually happened in '97. Half of the match is in this comic. I hated reading a crappy wrestling comic and it gets resolved in 3 pages. The fight is 2 pages or 3 pages. What's that? That's not a wrestling comic. That might be a normal comic. That's not a wrestling comic. You're there for the fight.
In other words, you want to give the people some money's worth, which is amazing. I like that. So the comics are all entirely black and white?
Yes. This one is completely in black and white. It is a indie outlaw comic, ultra violent or hyper violent.
And you're the outlaw.
Yup, original.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So, how many pages are in your book?
32 page comic.
So it's jam-packed with all the goodies. We're not going to give away those goodies because that's a definite no here at Pow Con because it doesn't help. I'm telling you guys that are wrestling fans, if you ever see this gentleman, his booth with his wrestling partner, because that's what he told me to address her as, the wrestling partner, the partner in the ring, tag team partner. She's a tag team champion with him. Right, she's a champion, right?
We're the tag team champions of the world.
The world. Come by his booth, buy his book. Do you also do commissions too for the public?
I have not started doing commissions, but I am open to, if anybody would message me or ask me for that, I will message right back, and I would do that.
So how should people? So how should the public reach out to you via social media?
I am at CJ Oreckinto on Instagram. I'm mostly answer through Instagram, so you can hit me.
You heard what the man said. You want to reach out? Talk to him through Instagram. So, do you have any big plans for issue number 2 of your comic?
I already started chapter 2, and it does continue with Sabu. But I'll let you guys read it and go on from there. But yeah, chapter 2 is going to be interesting.
All right, you heard what the man said. Reach out to him via Instagram. Buy the book. Buy a real copy. Do not bootleg it and put it online for everyone to see. Don't bootleg shit, okay? All right, well, thank you so much for your time, man. Thank you for having me here. This is another wonderful segment on arts and pop culture. Until then, next time, guys. Hey, how you guys doing out there? This is your boy Amari. I'm still here at Pow Con 2020, New Jersey, at the PLA Center in Wayne. There's a gentleman on my left-hand side, and you must be wondering who he is and what he's all about. Well, I'm going to tell you more about him. Well, no, I'm not going to tell you, but he's going to tell you about himself. He's a legendary comic book artist, illustrator, and inker in the business. He's been doing this for a long time. And without further ado, the one and only
Tom Ahern.
How you doing, Tom?
Good. How about you?
Wonderful, wonderful. I want to say thank you so much for coming to Pow Con. Thank you so much for being here and spending time with my audience. Nah, it's all right. So, what brings you to Pow Con besides Bronx Heroes?
Curiosity. Managed to get a couple of comic books I was looking for, so made my day.
So, please tell us your origin story. How did you get started in drawing comic books?
Well, first of all, I started drawing when I was 3 years old. I used to just take a piece of paper and look at the cartoons on TV, and I kept practicing. In 1973, I met Sal Trapani, who was an inker for Marvel and DC at that point, and took me under his wing. When I was good enough, I was doing backgrounds for him, and also met Frank McLaughlin a couple of years later. He was an inker for Marvel and DC. Did some backgrounds for him. I couldn't devote a lot of time to this stuff because at the time I was working for the Connecticut Department of Transportation. But I did what I could, honed my craft, practiced every day, which is what you have to do. And then I met these guys a few years ago, and I'm working with them now.
All right, cool. So, what was your favorite book to work on back in the day?
Master of Kung Fu. Paul Galassi did some incredibly detailed artwork. His background's very urban, usually took place in the cities, which is fine with me because I love drawing the older buildings. But I liked doing that book the best.
Okay, no problem. So what are you working on these days?
I'm working on Bronx Heroes with these two guys, working on another story for another guy who's out of Maine, The Captain's Jolting Tales it's called. And I'm designing about 5 tattoos, so I am very busy.
I see. You got a lot of tattoos on your arms. Ooh. Wow, you're really tough, man.
I just look that way.
All right, no problem. What was your hardest inking assignment?
Let's see. Well, the hardest one is when I had to actually redraw somebody's lousy pencils. An individual who will remain nameless handed me 6 pages to ink over. So I had to not only ink them, but I had to redraw them because his anatomy was horrible. He had no perspective. It's like I did the book myself. I did the bulk of it myself. That was like the worst thing I ever worked on.
I see. I noticed that you were drawing something earlier. Could you please show us the work you've done so far?
Started fooling around inking that a little bit. This one here.
Holy shit,
And
that's some powerful stuff right there.
And let me get back. just batted that out. I batted out Batman.
Okay, all right. So, what else is besides going on for you? Like, have you ever worked on any like cartoon properties like Space Ghost or the Herculoids?
No, I never did anything with animation. I'd like to, but I have only done comic book stuff. Never did animation.
Okay, that's cool, man. That's cool. Do you have any great messages out there for the people watching this interview?
Anybody who's an artist, I can't emphasize enough, practice, practice, practice. That's how you get better. Don't be discouraged. You may get mental blocks here and there. You're going to overcome them. Draw every day, every time you can.
All right, you heard what the man said. Practice, 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 practice. And Tom, thank you so much for coming on my program. I hope to see you again at another show, and we'll catch up.
I want to see your artwork. That's what I saw. I want to see more.
What did I show you?
You showed me something you did. I don't know, was it Marshall or was it Power Rangers?
Yeah, the watercolor.
That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I love watercolor. I'm in love with it, but I'm also obsessed with it. I just got to keep using it as much as I can. I do not like oils or acrylics, but only watercolor. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching that segment. That's a wrap. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. We're both in view? Okay. All right, how you guys doing? This is your boy Amari. I'm still here at Pow Con at the Bronx Hill booth. I'm here with a legendary artist. Writer.
Okay.
He's a legendary writer in the comics industry. He's a professional editor. He's been doing it for many, many moons. I'm talking with the legendary and the one and only
Robert J. Sodaro.
How you doing, Robert? How's nice to meet you, man.
I'm good, man. You know what? I started writing, working at comic books in '81. I started reading comic books in '61. I started reading them in '81, and working in the field in '81. And if you read comic magazines during the '80s and '90s, you read something I wrote, because I worked for virtually every single comic magazine that was published, from Amazing Heroes to Wizard.
Oh shit, you know about Wizard. I remember Wizard. They used to be a nice magazine company, but then they went out of business.
Yeah, they did, and that's too bad. I liked working with Wizard. I liked working with Amazing Heroes and CBG and Hero and a bunch of other magazines. I worked for a lot of guys.
So how did you get your start in the business?
Well, I was a radio ad copywriter, and a guy I was working with, he knew the guys over at Amazing Heroes, and he introduced me. Mike Catron hired me to write for, he was one of the first editors of Amazing Heroes. He hired me to write for them, and I wrote something for them, and they published it, and I went, well, if that was fun, I can do it again. And I did more work for other people, and, one thing led to another, and now it's 30-something years later, and not only have I written written about comics rather, but I also did work for Marvel and DC and Image and Extreme. I did some work for Rob Liefeld, doing a lot of. Yeah, I know. Listen, I like Rob a lot. He gave me a big break. He paid me a lot of money to do some writing for him. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Flew me out to San Diego in '95 to go to the convention.
Yeah, I know about Rob Liefeld. The one thing he mentioned that people loved about him the most was the money. Was not the work, it was just the money.
Yeah, he was good. I got like I said, because of him, I got to interview a bunch of guys who were working for him. Did a lot of work for him. It was great. I liked him. Yeah, I know people got an issue with him, but I'm not one of them.
Neither me. I mean, I never really met the man, but I learned to give everyone a chance to be who they are. I'm sure he's a wonderful person if I had the opportunity to get to know him.
I actually got a chance to. I interviewed most of the Image guys when they broke away from Marvel, and it was a lot of fun talking to these guys. They really knew what they were talking about. They were really good at what they were doing. And in all those years, I also got to start writing comic books. My first comic book was called Agent Unknown, which was for Renegade Press, Denny Laubert's imprint. And now I'm writing a bunch of comic book stories for a number of small independent companies, including Bronx Heroes.
Bronx Heroes is fucking amazing.
Oh, yes, they are. And I tell everybody this. Ray Felix is my superhero. I'm astounded by the guy who took on Marvel and DC over the use of the name, use of the word superhero, and he beat them. He won against Marvel and DC. He didn't hire a high-priced lawyer. He did it himself, and he beat them.
Well, the word superhero is in the category of being like a natural resource. Like, you can't copyright fish.
Well, again, also the word superhero was in use before Marvel and DC started using the term. And plus, two companies can't copyright the same word. And they copyrighted it in every form that in which it appears. And again, that's not something you can do. And he went in front of court and he proved it to them. And he won the right. And now he gets to publish his title, A World Without Superheroes.
Yes, Ray Felix does do a lot for the comic book community. A lot of people just don't know.
Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, he runs shows, he produces comic books, he does T-shirts, he does all kinds of events. He's amazing. I really like his energy, and I'm proud to call him a friend of mine. I'm glad he calls me a friend.
Of course, of course. Ray is a wonderful guy. He's responsible. He's amazing. Robert, I just want to say thank you so much for coming, and coming on my show. It's nice to meet you, and I hope to see you again on another convention.
Good. Nice to be here. Glad you invited me along. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. You hear that? That's a wrap. Until next time, take it easy. We're recording right now? Okay. No, you don't have to worry about headphones. Hi, how you guys doing? This is your boy Mark. I'm still here at Pow Con 2020 Pow at the PLA Center in New Jersey, Wayne, New Jersey. I'm here with a very wonderful artist. He has a lot of amazing work. And he's part of the Spawning Ground. Yes, you heard right, the Spawning Ground. I'm talking about the one and only Will Torres, right?
Will Torres. Hello, everyone. Will Torres here at PAL Comic Con 2021. My buddy William Momo.
How you doing? Nice to be here.
Okay, hang on.
Thank you so much for spending time with me and my audience, Will. Unfortunately, truthfully, most of my audience members are women. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout, man. You might not make it home tonight.
You might not make it home.
No, I'll be fine. I'm fine. So please tell us your origin story. How did you get started with art?
Ooh, we're going to go way back. 7 years of age, looking at the old Adam West Batman TV show. That's what caught my imagination, looking at the Amazing Spider-Man 1960 show with Stan Lee as the narrator. That caught my attention. My mom bought me my comics. That's what led me into the world of comics. I looked at it, studied it, mimicked it. Before I knew it, a few years later, I'm drawing comics on my own. And what I mean by that is I'm able to draw out of memory instead of looking at something and then copying it down and going from there.
That's cool, man. So who's your biggest influence artistically?
I'm just going to start with John Byrne. I have to mention John Byrne first because he was the first artist that I gravitated towards when I was very young. As I was up and coming in early 90s, the Image success with Tom McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Mark Silvestri, Wills Portacio, those guys caught the imagination of an era. Basically, right? Their generation, and I was a part of that. So I gravitated towards that. I gravitated towards their art style. Their art style influenced me to add the detail work that I put in my art today.
Nice. I see you have a particular fondness for the horror. Spawn 2.
I'm a huge Spawn fan because of Todd McFarlane, his tenacity, his success, his empire that he built. Everyone is in envy of that guy. He is the next Stan Lee. Basically, he is our Stan Lee for this generation now.
Well, I just truly see Todd McFarlane as his own man, just like you are. You're your own man, and you have a very unique style, which is very realistic, but also playful. It has bits and pieces here, but I'm not going to give away Will Torres' magic because then he'll be out of business. So, what was your hardest art assignment?
That's a tough one. I would say the recent cover that I created for Scorpion Comics. They had me draw Homelander. They were very particular not to draw the character from the film, to keep it just comic book based, but make sure that it's capturing the imagination of the character from both television and comics, but staying away from the television show. So that was very hard for me to try to compute that, but I was able to pull it off, and they were very happy with it.
Oh yeah, the same thing happened with the real Ghostbusters cartoon. They didn't want to use the actors' likenesses, so they had to make caricatures of the characters that embody the hearts of the actors. So I totally understand, man. That's good. You're definitely keeping yourself out of a political hot potato situation. So are you working on any of your own personal books right now that you want to show?
I am currently working on The Saint of the Assassins, which is a book that I've had in production now, probably about going on to 5 years. I'm taking my time with it. It's a spiritual realm type of storyline. It's about redemption, and it's something that it's going to gravitate towards the female audience in the comic book market. I'm taking my time with that because I want to do this right and with justice. I have another book that I worked on for probably about 15 years now. When I say I was working on the script, character designs, creating the art, I literally took my time on this. It's called Kilborg. It's a sci-fi comic book. My buddy is always on my back about that. Hey, Will, when are you going to get this out there? So again, I'm taking my time, but I'm very close to finalizing the production. Then it's going to go to print. So hopefully by 2022, middle 2022, I'll have it out there. And then I'm going to continue my Mr. Venture, Man of Adventure comic book, which is a character that I created with a little help from Stan Lee. He actually named the character for me.
You have a copy of that.
I have a copy of that right there.
Oh, wow.
With a cover by Todd McFarlane, variant cover by Todd McFarlane.
Tom McFarlane is fucking awesome.
Right there.
Yep, the signature TM. Oh, okay, that's great.
Todd McFarlane.
So, did he do the penciling and did you do the inking?
I wrote the story. I did the penciling, the inking, and I did the outsourcing for the digital colors.
Okay, that I understand. So, if anybody wishes to reach out to you, how should they go about it via social media?
They can find me at Art of Will Torres on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Say by name.
Will Torres, thank you so much for your time and energy, and thank you so much for educating the audience. I hope to see you at another show, man, and you can give us an update of what you're up to, man. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to your partner as well, too.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you heard that. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Bye. All right. How you guys doing? Yes, you're wondering. I'm still at the Bronx Heroes booth, and there's a good reason for it. I'm here to rep New York City hard because I do care about New York City and I do care about the 5 boroughs. I'm here with the heart and soul of the Bronx Heroes booth, convention, and women's and comics organization. I'm talking about the one and only, the unstoppable Ray Felix. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful, man. It's so good to see you here at Pow Con. I didn't think this was going to be possible for me to spend a quality time with you on my show again for my audience. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for being a source of a great influence.
Thank you, man. And pleasure's all mine. Appreciate it.
That we all know. But so what's new for Bronx Heroes right now? What's going on? What's new?
Oh my God. Quote, we got Punchline Clown Detective over here, which basically started off as a submission to DC back in 2005. The submission was rejected, and then 15 years later, they come up with their own punchline. And when I read that on bleedingcool.com, I was like, that's not going to happen. I went to the USPTO, registered the punchline name, because I wrote the script, I wrote the synopsis for DC way back when. They turned it down. And I published my book because I've been drawing Punchline since 2010.
Punchline is your baby, not DC's.
Not DC's. So Punchline first appeared in World Without Superheroes annual, the same year that DC took me to court and sued me over the word superheroes. And then a lot of the things in my properties ended up in the New 52. They were using a lot of aspects of my books in their thing while they were taking me to court. So that's now we have Punchline is out. You can read it, and if you compare my story to the DC published story, you'll see more than 10 similar plot points in the story.
Right. Maybe see the great punchline.
Right here, the great punchline. And the punchline is, I still have the trademark.
Yeah, Ray did go through a titanic battle with DC, and he won his case.
That's right, back in 2010. 4 years in trademark court, and I was able to defeat DC. And then we have War Without Superheroes, the next volume. This is volume 2, number 1. And this is about the next chapter of the War Without Superheroes series. Because while I was being sued, I stopped drawing. I didn't stop drawing, I stopped publishing War Without Superheroes until the case was over. And then once the case was over, I started getting together, publishing, coloring all of the stuff that I had a hiatus. So this is the first of 8 issues of War Without Superheroes that will continue to be coming out in the near future.
So it has a color cover. Is it black and white on the inside, or is it color on the inside?
Full color.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's amazing.
Usually I do full color books, but Punchline was black and white because I couldn't color fast enough. So, and I needed to beat DC while the shutdown was happening because they announced Punchline, but Diamond stopped distributing their books. There was no comic books being printed, so I went to Florida, printed it because Florida didn't close down at that point, and had that published, put on my website. The first issue was already done when they announced it. So I already just basically reprinted the first issue, did a digital copy, sent it up there, had my copyright already taken care of. So I want to reinforce that copyright with the trademark so that they could not use the name.
That's fucking amazing, man. Truly amazing. So do you have any special plans for Punchline in the future? Are you going to make a movie with her, a cartoon?
I've been dabbling with the animation and doing Punchline shorts. I do plan to do a live action short Punchline film, and Punchline has 4 more issues to come out. This is just the first 4 issues. Issues 5 through 8 are completed, lettered. They just have to be colored and released. So it's coming. I'm like a reckoning, you know?
So, ladies, if you're interested in starring as a clown detective, Punchline, Ray only wants women from Central and South America because the characters' origins are from Central or South America.
That's correct. Yeah, that's right. So it's Latina. We also have Bronx Heroes, the collected edition with a brand new cover of the book that Trevor Von Eeden, Paris Cullens, and even Tom Ahern had inked. Collected. It's a great book. The legendary 2 artists, Trevor Von Eeden, who's the co-creator of Black Lightning. You got Paris Cullens, who's the co-creator of Blue Devil. And of course, Tom Ahern, who's a legend himself, working as an inker for Marvel Comics for many years. And me, the Notorious.
I won't say notorious. You're unstoppable. I mean, the forces of evil tried to mess with you, and they lost.
That's right. God don't like ugly. So
Exactly.
so
Ray, if someone wants to reach out to you via social media, how should they go about doing it?
Bronx Heroes can be found on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, and anything else that's social media. You can find us Twitch and YouTube.
And also, ladies, remember, there's going to be a Punchline movie in the future. So if I were you, I would reach out to Ray while there's still time. Ray, thank you so much for coming on my show. Thank you so much for the interview, man. It's a blessing to always have you. Thank you for everything, man.
My pleasure, man.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Peace out.
That's a
Stay
wrap.
strong.